Hi, I am here today with the wonderful ladies of Swim Angelfish. Welcome. Would you mind introducing yourselves for everyone?
Hi, everyone. I'm Ailene Tisser.
And I'm Cindy Friedman, and together we make up Swim Angelfish.
Awesome. What is your kind of swimming background?
So, I'm a physical therapist by training, but I've always been an avid swimmer, a lifeguard, a swim instructor, just as a hobby. And in 2000, Cindy and I met in the therapy world. And when our paths crossed, it was meant to be. We decided to see what we could do, taking our skills and our passion into the water. I'll let Cindy tell you a little bit about her swim background, and then we can let you know a little more about how the program grew.
And so I was fortunate enough to meet Ailene, and I'm a recreational therapist, an occupational therapist, lifelong swimmer, diver, collegiate diver, love the water, and upon graduation got into some aquatic therapy. And then fast forward, I met Ailene in 2000, and we were able to realize that we could be an unstoppable force in the world of aquatics.
I
So
love
what we
that.
started out with was just physical therapy and occupational therapy in the water. And we would send our families to local YMCAs and swim schools. And we'd say, you're ready to learn to swim. But they kept coming back to us saying, nobody really understands my child. They don't understand the problems that they're having coordinating their muscles or why they keep seeking sensory experiences the way they do. Could you possibly teach them how to swim? Well, fast forward to 2010, we decided that we would open up a swim school in conjunction with our therapy business. And not only would we open a swim school, but we would become educators in the world of aquatics on adaptive swim for swim instructors around the world. And that's when we created the Adaptive Swim Whispers methodology.
That's really cool.
And I love that because I think a lot of people, especially now, have a lot of swimmers with learning differences. So
Definitely.
in 2000, the statistic of autism, for example, was 1 in 180, and now in 2024, yeah, it's like 1 in 35. So all
Yeah.
of the swim instructors, no matter what their background is, but specifically if you're working with the Swim America program, you're definitely getting swimmers that have adaptive needs. And these needs, that doesn't necessarily mean it's somebody with cerebral palsy or Down syndrome or significant anxiety. And as we discovered at especially one of our ASCA conference where we presented, we're talking about kids with ADHD, learning disabilities,
Mhm.
auditory processing. Have you guys seen swimmers with an increase in anxiety? And then also the range of abilities and challenges for the swimmers that we're getting that happen to be on the autism spectrum, right, Ailene?
Yeah.
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 It's really cool. So, what have you found is some of the differences between teaching kids to swim or like from your toolkit? Your toolkit's really cool. I love looking through it and like sharing it with our program directors. What are some things from your toolkit that differ between like program directors, swim lessons, and between team?
I would love to answer this if you don't mind. But we're at different pools. We have 11 locations where we work out of, and one of the locations I work out of has a typical swim team going on next to my lessons. And what I notice is a lot of swim coaches have a very firm structure on how they run their swim
Yeah.
practices. And when you get that one swimmer that's getting silly, that's being impulsive, that's jumping in before he's ready, that's going to the bottom, that's doing his own thing, they're usually the ones that they single out and be like, sit out, or you're not listening.
Yeah.
We're here to tell you that that's the swimmer that needs this approach the most because he's showing you what you need. He's seeking sensory input. He's trying to regulate his body. Being in the water is so magical and does so many therapeutic things. If you understand how to use it, you are going to have a really successful practice. And I've whispered to this swim coach before, what about if you start with a couple of flip turns in between laps instead of starting the way you're starting? And lo and behold, suddenly that swimmer was focused. So we give you tips on the science behind
Mm-hmm.
why your swimmer might be acting the way they're acting. Use these strategies, overcome an obstacle, and have more
Mm-hmm.
success.
Yeah, I love
I
that.
know.
I love that because we're all teaching different kinds of curriculum. And
Yeah.
within the Swim America curriculum, what we teach, it's 14 hours of online training, and we show you how to step away from some of your swim skill benchmarks, implement a strategy and technique for common universal swim skill roadblocks, such as those kids that just won't go underwater, the
Mhm.
ones that just keep splashing and seeking and going underwater, the ones that are tricky to engage and you're not sure, are they understanding what I'm saying? We might teach you wait a little bit because they're just processing the information. So stop talking and see if they understand. It's a really robust toolbox that we've created and it's been around for about 15 years now. And it really comes in handy for all swimmers that are having a challenge with traditional methods of teaching swimming. Happier swim instructor, happier child, happier parent.
I love what you're saying, Cindy, because I feel like a lot of times when you do invest in adaptive training or understanding how to work with individuals that learn differently, you take some type, everyone's looking for a quick answer, and there isn't a quick answer.
Mhm.
A one
No.
hour class, a 2 hour class, that's going to give you some risk management ideas and maybe definitions of diagnoses. But what do I do in the water? That's what people want to know, and that's what we're here to provide.
Yeah. Well, I love the way you said even the kids who are like scared to go underwater that don't want to go underwater because at least I feel like a lot of times people think adaptive swimming, oh, this is for like special needs who need like legit adaptations like they have in school. But anx being nervous about doing things is another adaptation you need to like provide for swimmers, which is like such an interesting way to put it. So it's not, it sounds not more appealing, but it seems like it applies to a wider range of people. It's
And
so
and
interesting to think
ASCA
about.
has you've been very good to Swim Angelfish in that you've taken the time to publish some of our articles. There's an article in the American Swimming Magazine available to everybody. It's called Anxiety, and it gives some strategies and tips. We're also in another article in you guys' magazine, ADHD and Science Behind the Swim Drills. So anybody that's part of your group that has access to that magazine
Mhm.
can jump in there and read those things right away with our partnership.
Yeah. And if you think
Cool.
about what the word adaptive means, right? Adapted is something that was done and you fixed it, you adapted to it, and you move on. But adaptive, which is how we describe our program,
Yeah.
is constantly changing and modifying for the sole purpose of achieving a goal.
Yeah. No, I love that. What would be, so if I'm someone who's listening to this in the car, doesn't have time to be on my phone, which is good. You shouldn't read your phone and drive. What are your top 5 tips for adaptive swim lessons?
Well, we probably can just alternate with
Okay.
each other. So,
Let's do top 6. We can make it even.
make it even. Okay, I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Top 6 tips for adaptive. I feel like we're on a game show host.
Okay. I think my first one would be trying to understand why you're seeing what you're seeing. And I'll give you one quick example of what that would look
Yeah,
like. A
please.
swimmer with anxiety, talking to them and repeating what you want them to do isn't the reason they're anxious. They're anxious because of something that they're feeling. So our first tip is understanding what buoyancy does to a person that can't control their body. Our tip would be give them a little weight, cotton shirt, cotton pajama pants, cotton socks, something to weight down their body a little as they're moving to decrease that anxiety.
Okay, well, that is definitely a tip that comes from the water properties, which is something we identify as a universal roadblock. So I am going to give a tip about seeking sensory input. When you have somebody who's constantly splashing and not listening, and you're trying to do a swim drill or you're trying to teach them a still flotation, consider the tip of opening your mind up as you assess and you see that that's not working to do some kind of swim skill benchmark or some kind of drill that actually gives them movement for a little while so that you can go back to your swim skill benchmark of something that's slower because it's possible if they have ADHD that they're unable to sit still at that moment and you have the magic of the water right there to do something for
Yeah.
you. Tip number 3.
Tip number three is the fearful student of laying on their back. A lot
Mhm.
of you are going to see those kids as soon as you tip them back.
Definitely.
You get an over emotional response of them being afraid. My tip is why not first start by seeing how comfortable they are just moving their head back? And we do a drill where we'll have somebody holding the side of the pool. You can call
Mhm.
it a wall ball, a blast off position, but have them practice just moving their head first and then keep your head back and now lay on your back. You're
Yeah.
breaking it down and you're helping them get that control in the body that they need so they don't have an unfortunate incident of maybe a little startle and a little water in the face.
Yeah,
Wow. So,
I love
so
that.
the 14 universal roadblocks in our training are called swim whispers, and each one has a category, and then we give multiple strategies and techniques. So what I'm going to talk about, because I don't want to give away the whole
Oh
everything.
No.
yeah.
How many of you guys swim instructors out there work on submerging by putting a swimmer forward? My tip is to maybe try and walk backwards while you're submerging instead of moving a child forward. If someone's struggling with submerging and they're struggling with suck, swallow, and breathe and mixing things up and getting nervous, try just walking backwards and see if they can impose going under by themselves by walking backwards. And you have to take the whole training to know why.
I'm going to bring it on home with my fifth tip.
Oh boy, I got to
Yeah.
think of number six for
You don't have to. We're only giving five.
Okay, great.
So tip number five is more of a philosophy. Tip
Mhm.
number five, especially if you've been in this business for a long time, is don't ever assume the swimmer can't.
Mm.
Say to yourself, what can I be doing differently? What can I be learning to help
Mhm.
them achieve? And at Swim Angelfish, yes, we have this very robust, comprehensive online training, but we also have a lot of free resources that can give you those answers immediately.
Mhm.
Just go on our website, go to the free resource tab, and you'll see an adaptive water safety toolkit. You'll see mini courses, and you can get your answer right away. So open your mind up to maybe there's something I could be doing or learning that's a little bit different, and then go back to doing my old style.
And no
Yeah.
more winging it. Like stop winging it with nervous adults, stop winging it with kids or young adults with autism, and really take the time to invest in professional training. Our training is 14 hours and it will change your lessons for everyone, typical and neurodivergent.
Actually, it's what our tagline is, transforming abilities. Not only will you transform the abilities in your
Yeah.
swimmers, but you're going to transform your own teaching abilities. And we're excited for this partnership with ASCA, and we're here to answer any questions you have on this journey.
We've been
Yeah.
together for 25 years. Could you imagine she tolerates me for 25 years?
That's awesome. So this is you point out something. The nervous adult is your training applies to not just kids, it's also for adults as well. Or do you find that there are differences between the kids and adults?
I would like to say, if you're listening to this, go to Swim Angelfish YouTube and go to Success Stories and watch The Nervous Adult. It will speak for itself. She's been to 3 swim schools before she came to me, and
Mhm.
it took me 3 lessons using the adaptive swim whisper methodology to get her to swim. 3 lessons.
And why does it work? I'll tell you why. Because
Why?
it's not based on age, it's not based on diagnosis, it's based on an obstacle. So if you're
Yeah.
seeing a nervous adult that doesn't want to lay on their back, well, that's a roadblock in our program. Do these strategies overcome it? If you're seeing a nervous adult that doesn't want to go underwater, these are common things. That's a strategy. These are the techniques. Try
Yeah.
this and overcome it. So that's why it really works for everybody.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, if I'm a program director or an ASCA member listening to this and I say, "Ooh, that sounds really interesting. I would like to be a part of this." How do I get to you guys? How do I become a part of
Well,
Swim
lots
Angelfish?
of things are in the works with making it very easy for ASCA members. But in the meantime, just email us at cert@swimangelfish.com, CERT@swimangelfish.com, and we'll personally answer any of your questions.
Yeah, we do offer partner pricing. And if you join us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and we have a really good YouTube channel. If you
Yeah,
subscribe to that, you'll see where we're going when we're doing an in-water workshop. And you'll really be able to keep up with us by subscribing to our newsletter that's available on our website as well.
And we did create like a whole YouTube PowerPoint presentation that I know
yeah,
ASCA has, and they can give you that as well. And it talks exactly all the details to get started.
that's awesome. You do in-water trainings. Do you do in-water trainings across the country or is it just in certain areas?
Across the country, and we try to pair them when we go to local conferences. So if you see that we're in a
Cool.
certain area for a local conference, we do that. But we also come to facilities just, random if you want to host an in-water workshop, as long as all of the individuals attending the workshop did the training, because we'll all speak the same language. We can come and work with you with your swimmers. We can come and just do a private training on, refining your skills. We're really open and flexible because our mission really is to make sure everybody's doing this and doing it well.
And when people want in water, it would be that they say they get 15 people trained in the Adaptive Swim Whisperers, and they want to host their own in-house training at their facility. They would contact us and ask us, and we would figure out the dates and times that would work for us to come.
Yeah, that's awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to shout out before we kind of end here?
No, but if any of you are going to any of the upcoming conferences at ASCA or any of the other local aquatics conferences and we're there, please stop by and say hi in person because we'd love to meet you.
Well, then I'll take this opportunity to use it as a little World Clinic shout out. But World Clinic is September 2nd through the 5th in Reno, Nevada, which is very exciting. And I'm so excited to see you guys there.
You
And
know
we'll
why?
be
You know why
there.
it's super exciting? Because we already have an in-water event for anybody that's taken
Yes.
the training in the Adaptive Swim Whisperers.
Okay.
So get started on it, get enrolled, and then when you come to Reno, you'll be able to get 10% off of the in-water workshop.
That's awesome. Very cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having us.